I think I figured it out. The main reason for pod fade isn't what you expect. It's not necessarily the tech, showing up on all the different platforms, not feeling like you have enough to talk about. There's something internal. And this has been happening to me lately. As you know, I stopped my other podcast and I've been honestly considering shutting down the cure for pod fade. So why is this coming up? I want to have a real raw conversation of what I've noticed in my own journey and what I'm noticing with a few of my clients and how we are changing the script so that we can keep using this amazing platform to build beautiful businesses and make that impact that we desire. Welcome to the Cure for Pod Fade. I am so excited you found your way here because that means you know how powerful podcasting can be. You are ready to build a legacy with your unique story, your message, and your offer, but you're getting a little overwhelmed. You're feeling frustrated, you're feeling stuck. You just don't know how to grow your show, find a new audience, and make some money. Podcasting can be the ticket to the life of your dreams, and it doesn't have to be as hard as you think. We're talking about all the ingredients it takes to be a successful, profitable podcaster without that icky overwhelm, because you are too magical to join the 85% plus club that pod fades away. I'm your host, Jen Dragonette, so let's make podcasting easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So yeah, you heard it. I've really considered putting a pin in this podcast and walking away. Podcasting has become extra hard for me, not just in the sense of my own podcast, but it's been really hard to want to keep pushing because there has been so much energy around me that has been dragging me down, including some of that of clients that have been struggling also. And the main key thread here to why everyone has been struggling is we're starting to realize that why we're doing this has shifted. And we haven't allowed that shift to show up inside of our podcast and inside of our message. We have pigeonholed ourselves into these tight little boxes. And because we're creative entrepreneurs that want to make a big impact, we get bored. And I get that. And I'm so excited because I'm just bringing on a new multi-passionate entrepreneur. And when we were having this conversation, that is when I realized why I have been struggling with wanting to shut down the cure for pod fade. The truth is, I'm so sick of talking about the technical stuff, the how to grow, the how to make this happen, the how to please our egos. And what my true mission and my true core focus is allowing you to find that story, that journey that's inside so that you can find it and share it and be that beacon of hope that other people need. I did write the book, Your Story is Someone's Life Raft, for a reason. My core message and everything that I have been about has been podcasting for your soul. That's the name of my program. But then I got myself so pigeonholed in this. I have to be the podcast expert. I have to be the person that gives you the tips to grow, the tools to grow. Well, here's the thing. If you hate every single piece of the journey, you're not going to keep showing up. It's going to get hard and you're going to stop. And I think this happens to so many podcasters is we go into it with this expectation of it's going to be this one thing. But that one thing doesn't fit into our beliefs, our desires, and it doesn't fill that need we have to show up and make big, big waves. You know, I always say, we are too magical to be a ripple, be a tsunami. Well, how am I being a tsunami if I'm just sharing with you, here's the tips and strategies to grow your podcast. Here's the tips and strategies to make money from your show. Are those important? Hell yeah. But the thing is, when you have a message, when you have a core desire that is so magical, those other two things will follow because you'll want to share it with the world. I had to take a real hard step back and look at, okay, why am I not creating graphics anymore? Why am I not excited and following up with my guests? I loved all my guests. They have provided so much value. They are amazing humans, but I shut down. And yes, I do have some crazy personal things going on in my life with losses and massive changes in my life, but that wasn't it. What the thing that was missing was that I was going so technical. Yeah, I want you to grow your show. Yeah, I want you to make money from your show. But what I really want you to do is to do it in a way that feels so flippin' good that you're not always struggling. Does that mean it's always going to be easy? Hell to the no. It's not always going to be easy. Because each time you take a step forward, you're breaking into a new level of uncomfortable. You are breaking into a new thing. We don't get to just jump off into something new and be an expert at it right away. So it takes some time. So I'm not saying that if you're in that uncomfortable zone, that this is the exact solution for you. But if you've been doing this for a while, you really need to pause for a minute and step back. And I see it come up. Our clients are a great mirror for ourselves, right? Talking to one of my clients, and she was concerned about the dramatic pauses in your podcast. Cue the dramatic pause. And then she was spending so much time, even using programs like Descript. Shout out to Descript, my favorite software out there, especially for those of you who don't want to hire a producer for your show. It keeps getting better. It's amazing. But she was spending so much time looking at every dramatic pause in her podcast. It was taking her hours to edit. And I was like, Descript has a feature that you can go click the little magic icon and you can shorten those word gaps. Why aren't you using that? Because I've found that 1 or 2 of the 300 pauses in my podcast were needed. Okay. So then you have to start evaluating, all right, it is taking you this many hours to edit. Is that enjoyable for you? No, I hate doing that. So how important are those 2 dramatic pauses to you and your audience? Yes, the dramatic pause is great, but at what cost? And then it just kept going from there for me. At what cost? When I said those words to her, my heart stopped. I was like, oh my God, here it is. Here's the thing. Here's why I want to give up on podcasting and not teaching podcasting. Why you don't see me show up on social media. Why you don't see me show up in all the things. Why you don't see me building a list. Not because I don't know how. It's not because I'm not good at it. I'm just so sick of talking about a topic that is not on my heart that I can't do it anymore. And I'm not saying that this podcast is going anywhere. But what I'm saying is my focus is going different directions, meaning I'm going to have to bring in experts for growth. I'm going to have to bring in experts for software support. I'm going to have to bring in experts for all these things. What I truly want to do and what my true process is, and what the whole method behind the deity method is. Yes, I know you hear CPR, but there's actually a deity. And the deity is discover, embody, inspire, transform you. That is the deity method. 100% what I love. And I was missing core pieces of that. I was giving the tech side, here's what you do, here's what you do. But the piece that was missing is, why are you doing it? What is your story? What emotion is going to connect with your audience? As I keep going on with this career path that I have chosen, which has gotten very interesting to me. Mind you, if you don't know my story, I got my first associate's degree in visual communication and graphic arts. Then I went on to aviation. Then I went on to political science. That was truly terrible for me. I have a bachelor's in marketing and I have a master's in marketing, minor in management. That being said, I also have all these other certificates because I was always seeking the one thing. What was that one thing? That one course, that one thing that was going to make it so that I could just show up and everyone was magically going to be in my inbox asking me, paying me, how do I work with you? And it's hard because I've been on this journey for a while now. I've been on this journey for at least 5.5 years now, and I have been toe dipping. But I've been toe dipping with somewhat of a purpose. And I have to say that I have built myself a pretty nice production business in the back end. Could I stop doing my own show? Could I stop working on my social media, stop with all the marketing, stop with all the courses and be comfortable? 100%. My production company supports me that I've built, and it builds word of mouth all the time. But production doesn't fill that soul need. That doesn't fill that need of why I created the program that's called Podcasting for Your Soul, because there's so much more to podcasting. So I think that a lot of the reasons that we feel that we are fading out of podcasting, that we are giving up on podcasting, is because we have pigeonholed ourselves into these damn little boxes because everyone says we can't be a multi-passionate entrepreneur. And that's a bunch of bull honky. Bull honky. I'm going to call bull on that 100%. But what it does mean is that you need to maybe take a pause. The power of a powerful, powerful, powerful pause. You can, if you're afraid to stop your show, do some rewind episodes, best of episodes, whatever you want to call them. But take some time to really sit with it. Where is your podcast going? Is it time for a rebrand? Can it be shifted? Last week when we talked to Sarah, she kind of showed us that we can pivot and change and stay within our same, I don't want to say niche, but in our same target market. And we can grow and we can expand. What happens is we don't allow ourselves to grow and expand because we've built this podcast and we're finally getting traction. Yes, I've got 50 downloads. I've got 100 downloads an episode. Wherever you're at, you're like, I can't change now because I'll lose my people. But I also can't talk about this topic one more flippin' time. I get it. I'm here. So what I can tell you is that I am still finding myself. I'm still finding my footing. I have made full circle. I'm starting to do some design work again. I've been working with some people with Blue Lotus, which is an amazing plant therapy oil. I've been working through that. I've been working really to take this time to pause and figure out where do I want to go in my life, especially with all the big changes happening in my personal life. I'm really looking at what is serving me, what isn't serving me, what do I like, what don't I like. Because for years, I could tell you a laundry list of everything I didn't want in my business, everything I didn't want in my life, everything I didn't. But the thing that's being hard for me is that what do I actually want? Do you know what you actually want? Have you built what you actually wanted? I know I haven't. I love working with my clients. I get lit up doing it. I'm really great at production. I love doing the graphics. I love when they come to me with a rebrand or a new idea, or they're stuck and we can have a conversation, talk about their story, figure out what lights them up, figure out how they want to serve their audience, turn that into content, turn that into courses or coaching or some sort of a journal or something, and monetize their podcast and make an impact at the same time. That's what I truly love. But that's not me in production. That's me having conversations and getting to dig in and getting to know people. And I mean, lots of crazy things happen. Like, I am excited because I just introduced the 90-day, I forget what I called it. It doesn't have its catchy name yet. It's basically what it is. It's a 90-day plan that we sit down in 90 minutes and we plan out. We talk about your story. We talk about what you want to offer. We come up with content ideas for each one of your podcasts for the next 90 days, how you're going to create the profit plan from that content, how you're going to build that, how you're going to set that up. And then you get 90 days of support afterwards from me. And you know what? This has been my favorite offer so far. I've had 6 people go through it and it's been so rewarding for me and for them. I'm seeing people constantly profit off of these plans that we're creating. And it's so simple. 90 days, 90 minutes, creating a plan. And it's exciting to me. And what I'm realizing is that's where my mission is. It's having the conversations with other humans, getting to know them, getting to know their stories, getting to know what they really want, getting to know how they want to serve people, and then going from there. It's not just telling you, hey, use Descript, use Capsho, use all these different softwares to make your podcasting life easier. Does it make your life easier? Yeah. Will I still teach tech stuff? Heck yeah. Because it's a part of podcasting, and podcasting builds a legacy. And that's another thing that I'm starting to realize is it's okay, podcast adjacent, I'm going to start doing video. And I do think that YouTube is a powerful strategy. I think that podcasting and YouTube are probably the most powerful strategies because you've got a legacy platform that you're unrestricted on your podcast. And then you have your SEO goldmine on YouTube. And there is a proper way to get your podcast onto YouTube. And YouTube, please stop calling it a podcast. It is just a playlist that you've dibbed podcast. Until you take my RSS feed, it's not a podcast. It's a YouTube channel. But I digress. Some of those things that really get to me, that's one of them. But yes, YouTube is coming out with YouTube Music and they're talking about putting the RSS feed there, but it's not there yet. So stop calling it a podcast. But that being said, is what I really want you to take away from this is if you're feeling like giving up because it's no longer fun for you, it's probably because you have narrowed your focus so much that it no longer brings you joy. Do we need to narrow our focus to grow? Yeah. The more narrow your focus is, the smaller your audience will be, but the more likely your audience will purchase. 100%. But sometimes when you narrow so tightly and you don't give yourself the option to like play in different directions, it kills your soul. And that's just going to keep showing up. And that's what's happened to me. That's why it's been such a struggle for me to put out my own content. That's why you haven't seen me showing up. That's why I'm sorry to my recent guests that I haven't been doing everything that I should be doing to promote this show. And I apologize to the listener and to you because I appreciate that you're still showing up. I try to bring you value, but it hasn't been aligned with my heart. My heart says there's so much more to podcasting. The cure for pod fade isn't more numbers, isn't another strategy. It's you. The cure for pod fade is you and your story and your delight in sharing your message. That's the cure for pod fade. I can teach you to batch. I can teach you the right software. I can teach you a plan. But if that foundation that it's sitting on is not lighting you up, your podcast is going to fail. You're going to fade away. It just is what it is. And I don't want that for you. So if you are truly struggling with this, grab one of those 30-minute free podcast CPR audits with me. That's 30 minutes of my time coaching. And no, it does not end with me pitching you. If you want to continue to work with me, you're welcome to. But what this does is it gives me market research, because I always like to be honest and upfront. What I get out of it is market research. On occasion, I get some great episode ideas. On occasion, I will promote your show and use part of your audit if you sign the waiver. That's what I get out of it. What you get out of it is 30 minutes of my time looking at your show and helping you see what's in alignment and what's not in alignment and how you can move more into what lights you up so that we can also reposition things. This doesn't mean that I'm not going to give you strategies. This doesn't mean I'm not going to look at your titles and be like, okay, we need to work on your titles. We need to work on your description. We need to work on these things. You'll still get all that strategy stuff. But I want to go deeper and I want to look at that foundation of what it's sitting on. Because if it's sitting on quicksand because you're just keep putting yourself through a funnel and you aren't enjoying it, that's where we need to start. So you can grab one of those for free. You can go to podcast C, like CPR, because we're resuscitating your podcast.com, podcastcpr.com. And I really hope that you take me up on these, especially right now, because eventually if I get busy, or when I get busy enough, they won't be free anymore. So why not grab 30 minutes of my time looking at your show and your business and see where the misalignments are so that we can start getting you growing so you can be seen, heard, you get inspired, and you can make that impact that you are made for, because you are here to not be a ripple, but to be a tsunami. So again, grab the podcast, cpr.com. And I look forward to talking to you next week, because as this is coming out, I'm going to keep being honest with you, and I'm going to keep giving you practical things that you should look at so that you can avoid this nasty thing we call pod fade, because this podcast truly can be your legacy and a platform that you can build your business with. All right, that's all for now. So have the most amazing day.